Legends of the Hidden Temple.
One of, if not my most favorite game show growing up. What's up, YouTubers of the world? megageekmixer here to give you guys my next installment to the content of Mega Throwback Mixer. And this time, guys, like I promised, I am talking about a game show I grew up with, and that's just what it was called.
Legends of the Hidden Temple.
I always loved it when Almac would do that. And yeah, that guy you saw, that stone tablet man, his name is Almac. He is one of the guest hosts, the game hosts of this game show. And this game show existed back in 1993 or 94 and went on to 3 or 4 years before it stopped. And it's an Indiana Jones style type of game. It's a game where you are retrieving historical artifacts in a temple by performing physical stunts and answering questions based on history, mythology, and geography. And let me tell you, people, it was a great game show. Every time I would get off of school and the day it would come on, I would be like, gotta get home, can't miss a second of this. It was always such a joy for me. But now, having said all that, though, let me just first go off topic by saying how ironic it is I make this after not only a few weeks ago or so, they announced that CW has rebooted this and is coming out in October. But this time, the contestants are going to be adults. So that means the challenges are going to be adult type of challenges that are more tougher and stuff. It makes me think maybe it'll be something like American Ninja Warrior style. If it is, I'm interested. We'll see how that goes. And now, having said that, as I make my review of this, why don't I introduce the host? But besides the one and only Almac himself, let's introduce the other guy, who is...
With your guide, Kirk Hogg. And here he is now.
Thank you very much. Nice to see you.
Glad to have you with us here, Kurt Fogg. I'm going to be doing my review on it, and I just want you to help me out here. First, let's just talk about the teams that we always had, and they were 6 teams. Go ahead and introduce them.
The Red Jaguar, the Blue Barracudas, the Green Monkeys, the Orange Iguanas, the Purple Parrots, the Silver Snakes.
Ah, yes, those 6 teams, and personal favorite of mine would have to be Red Jaguars, just because I like Jaguars. But hey, we all entitled to our opinion here. But either way, what made this game show so great was, as I said, Indiana Jones style, like you're on an adventure and stuff. And then, of course, you have 4 rounds you have to go through here. The first round being...
They're going to have to pass some tough physical and mental tests. In the end, only one team will have the right to enter Olmec's temple. But first, they have to cross the moat.
And basically what that was that there's a pool right there, and the team is on one side, and the goal is to get to the other side with different sorts of ways to cross the moat. One you could say is like you had to balance yourself on a rope and hold on with your hands on another rope as you would cross it. But if you fell down, you had to go back and try again. But if the first member of your team would make it, then the next team would go. And if they made it, the first 4 teams to make it to the gong would move on to the next round. And trust me, guys, the moat was always a fun thing right there. Always seeing how... trying to keep an eye on all of them and see which one's going to make it, and you sometimes wouldn't notice the other team falling because you just couldn't keep your eyes on them. But man, here came the next one, which is one of my 2 favorite parts of this game, and that was round 2, the Steps of Knowledge. And basically, guys, the Step of Knowledge was such a great one. This was where it would get into the interesting thing, as Almac would talk about the artifact you guys would be going for. And he would speak of the legend of the artifact. Sometimes they were fictional, sometimes they were real. And then you would be asked a series of questions to test your knowledge, meaning anytime he was talking, you need to pay close attention to most of what he said and try to keep them in your memory banks. Or he would even talk about a general thing that played a key role in that story. Like say it that revolved around a ship or pirates, he would see if you have general knowledge about things on a ship, such as what is that mast called that people go on to look out, crow's nest, etc., etc. Oh, I loved it. Anytime that round would go, I would answer it myself. And if I got it correct, I would have been, yes, I would have made it to the bottom, but only if I had stepped on the button that would make the call. Oh man, that one was one of my favorite ones. But basically what it is, first two teams to make it to the bottom would be the winners and go on to the next round. And that next round would be round 3, the Temple Games. And the Temple Games was a series of competition games that was physically challenged, and the team that earned the most things that were needed for the next round would go on to the Temple Run. And what were those things?
In the Temple Games, we're going to be competing for these pendants of life. The winning team's going to need those pendants to protect them from the dreaded temple guards as they make their way through the temple.
And basically, most of the times, the two teams would be competing for it, and by the end of it, you would have 1.5 pendant, or you would have 2 full pendants. Because here's the thing: for the third round, the first 2 rounds, the team that won would get half a pendant. The same would go for the second round. That team won, they get a half a pendant. But the third round would be for a full pendant. But just know that sometimes if there was a draw between the team in one round, they both would get half a pendant. And sometimes in this game, most of the times you would get one full pendant and a half pendant. But sometimes if you got lucky with your team, you would get 2 full pendants. But now, having said that, time to go for the main attraction of this game show that made it all possible, and that was the Temple Run. The Temple Run, guys, whoa, that was what always made it such the wait for. You see, in the Temple Run, you would try to make your way through any of those rooms, and they were all different rooms. You would get to choose which side you want to go to, and you would have to do a series of specific tasks and puzzles to try to open the door from each room to advance to the next one. But the one thing you had to watch out for was temple guards. Temple guards are pretty much the people guarding a part of the room, and if you are caught by them, you would be taken out of the temple. However, though, that's where the pendants of life came in. If you had a full pendant, you could give it to them and you would have an extra life and keep going. But if you were caught by a second one and didn't have a pendant, then that means the next member of your team would go and try to make it to where the artifact is within inside the temple. Sometimes you would even have to, and when I said you would have to take on solve some puzzles or something, some of them are some of the famous known ones, such as the Shrine of the Silver Monkey. And basically in that one, what you had to do was take the 3 pieces of the silver monkey and fix and make and put them together so that you can move on to the next room, whichever room that was you were going to. But don't worry, guys, here's the best part about it. Once you made it to the spot where it had the artifact, all the doors would open and all the temple guards would be gone. All it was a matter was trying to get out of there before you ran out of time, because when you do this temple run, it is giving you 3 minutes on the clock. And let me just tell you, the time clock they had with how it had Olmax there and the art style of it, I loved it. I always loved seeing how it would just shoot up right there anytime it would start. It was always a joy. But there you have it, guys. And just so you know, none of these team players went home empty-handed. They would always go home with a prize. But the grand prize of them all is if you get through the temple and make it all the way back before time runs out, your grand prize would be a trip to someplace out of the country or someplace within the States, anywhere, whatever it was. You see, guys, this is why I love the Temple Games. It just had so much stuff that I was like, man, I want to be a competitor in this. But unfortunately, back then, I was still too young and stuff. Those were for kids within their early teen stages that could compete and stuff. And they would have to be able to pass physical tests and quizzes to be able to know if they could enter the games. And all I can say is, I wish I had that chance. because I was so in love with this game that I always was wishing that it would come back, and now it is coming back. I do have hopes that it'll be as good as the original, but nothing usually is better than the original, but it's still going to make me curious to see how are they going to make this work when we're having adults as the competitors this time, and how will these adult games be? Like, what kind of physical games and quizzes are they going to have to do to test themselves? Possibilities are endless. But either way, guys, that is it for today. If you enjoy my videos, all you gotta do is click that like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon to be notified when I make more videos. And until then, I'll see you guys on the next episode of Mega Throwback Mixer. Until then, Mega Geek Mixer signing out. Bye.